Right now, there are thousands of MCP servers out there, and if you go looking, half of them are half-finished side projects nobody's touched in months. So today we're cutting through that. These are the 10 MCP servers that are actually worth installing right now, ranked by real adoption, official backing, and what teams are genuinely using day to day, not just what's trending. We're covering code, browsers, databases, design, communication, and more. So no matter what kind of work you do, there's probably at least two or three on this list you should be running today. We're counting down from 10 to number 1, and I promise the top pick solves a problem you've almost certainly run into, even if you didn't know there was a fix for it. Let's get into it. Before we jump into the countdown, quick word on how this list was actually built, because best of lists are usually just vibes. This one isn't ranked by which servers have the flashiest landing page, it's ranked by real signals. GitHub stars, whether a vendor officially maintains it, and what teams are actually installing and using day to day. And the spread is intentional. We've got code, data, design, communication, and infrastructure all represented because MCP isn't just a developer thing anymore. If you touch a computer for work, there's probably something on this list for you. All right, countdown starts now at number 10. Let's kick off the countdown at number 10, Kubernetes MCP. If you run anything in containers, this one's worth knowing about. Instead of jumping into KCLBT every time something looks off, you can ask an agent to check pod status, pull recent logs, or look at what's actually running in a namespace, and it goes and gets you the real current state of the cluster. It's not going to replace your ops team, and you probably don't want an agent doing unsupervised scaling in production. But for inspection, triage, and quick debugging during an incident, it saves you a lot of terminal hopping. It's a niche pick compared to the rest of this list, which is exactly why it's sitting at number 10. Genuinely useful if infrastructure is your world, less relevant if it isn't. All right, number 9 is a very different category entirely. Number 9, Stripe's official MCP server. This one's aimed squarely at support and revenue teams. Instead of a support agent tabbing over to the Stripe dashboard every time a customer asks about a charge, an AI assistant can just pull the customer's subscription status, recent invoices, or payment history directly, mid-conversation. For a revenue or finance adjacent workflow, that's a real time saver. You're not waiting on someone to go look something up, the answer is just there. It's narrower than some of the other picks on this list. Obviously, not everyone needs billing data in their agent, but if you're running a subscription business, this is one of the more immediately useful servers you can wire up. Next up at number 8, we're moving into team knowledge. At number 8, we've got Notion. If your team's institutional knowledge lives in Notion, and let's be honest, for a lot of companies it does, this server closes a real gap. Instead of an agent guessing at how your team does things, or you having to paste in half a doc for context, it can search your workspace and pull the actual page directly into the conversation. Onboarding docs, project specs, meeting notes, all of it becomes something your agent can actually reference instead of working blind. It's less flashy than something like browser automation, but for day-to-day usefulness inside a real company, this is one of the higher leverage picks on the list. Number 7 takes us into team communication. Number 7 is Slack. This is one of the servers that makes an agent feel less like a chatbot and more like an actual coworker. It can search channel history, pull context from a thread you're referencing, and within the permissions your workspace allows, post updates back out. Think about a stand-up summary or an agent that can go check what was actually discussed in a channel before answering your question instead of guessing. The permission model matters a lot here. It respects your workspace's existing access rules, so it's not just reading everything indiscriminately. Number 6 shifts things over to design. At number 6, Figma's official remote server. This one's for anyone who's ever handed a design file to an engineer and watched the spacing come out slightly wrong. Instead of an agent guessing at colors, spacing, and component structure from a screenshot, it can read the actual Figma file, frames, styles, layout, and generate code that matches what the designer actually built. Because it's the remote hosted version, you don't even need the Figma desktop app running locally to use it. It connects straight to Figma's own endpoint. For design to code workflows specifically, this is about as close as it gets to closing that gap automatically. Number 5, we're into database territory. Number 5 is Supabase or plain Postgres MCP, depending on your stack. This is genuinely one of the most practical servers on this entire list if you work with data at all. It connects directly to your database and lets an agent run read-only queries, list out your tables, inspect a schema, or help track down why a report is returning the wrong numbers. Read only is the key word there. It's built for inspection and debugging, not for an agent quietly rewriting your production data. If you've ever needed to explain your schema to someone or spent 20 minutes hunting for which table actually has the field you need, this server does that instantly. Number 4 brings things back to your own machine. Number 4, Filesystem, one of Anthropic's own official reference servers. It sounds almost too simple to matter, but it's foundational. It gives an agent direct, scoped access to read and list files in your actual project, not a copy-pasted snippet, not a half-remembered summary, the real file as it exists right now. Scoped is the important word. You control exactly which folder it can see, so it's not wandering around your entire hard drive. Combine this with something like GitHub or Postgres, and you've basically covered the three places most of your actual working context lives: your code, your repo history, and your data. Now we're into the top three. And number three might be the most fun one to actually watch work. Number three is Playwright MCP, Microsoft's official browser automation server, and it's sitting at over 34,000 stars on GitHub. Genuinely one of the most popular servers in the entire ecosystem. It gives an agent an actual browser it can drive, clicking buttons, filling in forms, taking screenshots, navigating pages across Chromium, Firefox, and WebKit. That means an agent can go test your app the way a real user would, pull data off a page that doesn't have an API, or walk through a multi-step flow and show you exactly where it breaks. It's the closest thing on this list to giving an agent hands instead of just words. Which brings us to number 2, the single most widely adopted server in the whole MCP ecosystem, TSC. Number 2, GitHub's own official server. And this is the one almost everyone starts with. Over 30,800 stars, 51 tools, maintained directly by GitHub's own engineering team. It covers basically your entire repo workflow: reading and opening pull requests, triaging issues, searching code across a repository, checking on continuous integration runs. If you write code and you're only going to install one MCP server today, this is probably it. It's official, it's actively maintained, and it plugs directly into the workflow you're already using. It's easy to see why it's the single most popular server in the ecosystem. It solves an everyday problem for basically every developer. But it's not number one. That spot goes to something that solves a problem almost every single agent runs into. And number one, the single most starred MCP server that exists at over 57,800 stars is Context 7. Here's the problem it solves. Every model's training data has a cutoff, and libraries update constantly. So ask an agent about a library's current API, and it'll often confidently give you a method that was renamed, deprecated, or never existed at all. Context 7 fixes that by fetching real, current, version correct documentation for the exact library and version you're using and feeding it straight into the agent's context before it answers. It's narrow in scope. It does basically one thing. But that one thing is probably the single most common source of agent mistakes in coding workflows. That's exactly why it's earned the top spot. So that's the list. 10 servers, 10 completely different problems solved. If you only install a couple today, start with GitHub and Context 7. Between those two, you'll cover most of your daily coding workflow. So, quick recap of the podium. Number 3, Playwright, for giving your agent an actual browser to work with. Number 2, GitHub, the most widely adopted server in the whole ecosystem. And number 1, Context 7, for finally fixing the stale documentation problem that trips up almost every coding agent out there. If you only set up 2 servers after watching this, make it GitHub and Context 7. Between those two, you've covered the vast majority of a typical coding workflow. Now, I want to hear from you. Which one of these 10 are you actually installing first? Drop it in the comments. If this was useful, subscribe for more MCP breakdowns. and I'll catch you in the next one.